You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
Let's discover hardcover month, but it's this enough so you can know what's up in the hood.
Welcome to Hardcover. My name is Ny'Jari, Wright, and I am accompanied with
Ciyandrea Riley Davis.
and
Aoraha.
and we are going to be discussing third spaces in communities, towns, cities, all that.
So a third space is basically like somewhere for a teen that's not school or home, like somewhere else for their friends, for them and their friends, or even to meet other people their age, basically.
Exactly what she said. Do you guys have any third spaces that you know of that have impacted you and keeping you out of either whatever it may be?
I mean, there's not really a lot of third spaces, especially for like teens, because a lot of places are anti-teen, but I think there are some like spaces that I like the mall, for example. I like shopping with my friends, but there's another issue with the mall, which is that everything is like super expensive now.
Literally.
And I mean, yeah, there's just like not really anywhere to go or anything to do except just stay home and text your friends, unless you want to spend like minimum $20.
Yeah, like I agree so much. And then if you do have to spend a minimum $20, most people don't even have that because it's so hard to get a job as a teenager too. And who wants to keep asking their parents for money when you're like 16, 17, 18? You're 21, right? So like, how do you feel about that specifically?
Well, I'm glad you asked, because I don't really have that experience, or when I was you guys' age, I didn't really struggle with having a third place because, and this may have been because where I grew up in Evanston, it's like very diverse. So it's like that's the norm to have places for kids to want to go to, you know, like you said, communicate with people their age
Right.
and get to, you know, explore talents or hobbies or other interests. So there was this one place that like literally after school, all the like neighborhood middle schools would link at that spot at the Y, called Metamedia. So that was like our third space. It was a place where kids could come, basically learn like computer stuff. I did a lot of stop motion animation there. That's kind of where I like, that's the space that actually pushed me into making stop motion animation content. So yeah, so it's like, that was the space for me, but I do recognize how fortunate I was at that time to literally link up with a group of friends and know where we were gonna go, instead of like just going all about the city, because that's how you find trouble. That's how you like get distracted from things that, you know, could lead you down a constructive path for your future, and whatnot. Because I heavily believe that during your teen years, you should be involved in something that you enjoy to, you know, further your growth and evolve as a person. So yeah, I am really appreciative and grateful for Metamedia. They're still up. Some of the people that work there don't work there anymore, unfortunate. But yeah, if they ever watch this, or if y'all ever watch this, how y'all doing? I miss y'all.
I think hearing you talk about how you had a place to go to where you discovered your passion, that's like a completely different experience than mine, because now I don't have anywhere to go to like talk about my passions. Like I don't even know what I'm truly passionate about, just because I haven't really been given an opportunity to explore like maybe what I want to do or what I want to be. I just kind of like just learn about it in school and then pick something, and that's really it.
I think it's like really interesting that you say you had that space because you grew up in Evanston, because I was doing some research yesterday before the podcast about how back in like the 80s and 90s there were a ton of third spaces in Chicago. Like they had teen clubs, like a literal
Sports
club,
clubs and all
right?
that.
Not like a recreational club, like a partying nightclub for teens.
Oh, snap.
In the 80s and 90s, yeah.
I didn't know about that.
They had like so many. They had, you know, the roller skating rinks, the arcades, but as the years went on, you know, the kids were kind of driving away, like the more, not necessarily gentrified, but like the more adult audiences that were coming into the city, and it drove the teens to the suburbs. So the fact that you had that in Evanston, but spaces like that aren't necessarily established in Chicago, it kind of shows how that history like spread those opportunities outside of the city, you know?
It's nice that you added that. Dang, I just lost my train of thought that fast. But you would think though that like the city will host more programs, more activities, more
Right.
spaces for the youth, especially with like the stuff that we see on the news about teen takeovers and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Their best solution is to give them curfews, as if
Literally.
you can like, how do you know youth is out past like the 9 to 10 o'clock curfew? How would you, like, it still happens. The only way you could, I feel, and maybe a lot of other people feel, is to actually give them that space.
Mm-hmm.
There's tons of abandoned buildings on the southwest, east side, even in downtown, and nothing's being done to like, what's the word I'm looking for? Renovate, like tear it down, put something else there. It's like so much stuff that could help that's not being done, and it gets kind of frustrating when you're a part of that like group of people that's kind of getting shamed. When there's nothing you can really do, like we don't have the money to go put up a building, to go do, you know, to go work on films, to go paint, draw, stuff like that. Like we don't have the money to necessarily start that foundation, but the people that do don't do it for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that should be touched upon. And I don't know, maybe we should do that. Maybe we should, you know, get the mayor in here and start asking him some questions about like what's going on, like if there is something we could do, what is it, you know?
Right, yeah,
So yeah.
definitely.
I think it's really interesting that there was like places in the like 80s that were like teen clubs, because clubbing culture, like now it's mainly just for adults, and the only time like kids my age really come together and party is like at people's houses, and the problem with it being at a house rather than a public space is like there's more risk of like alcohol intoxication or like drugs, which like just like hard drugs, which could get very dangerous very fast. And yeah, I just think like not having these community spaces for kids really endangers them. Like it makes people want to do more risky stuff.
I think the most like important part of a third space is not just like anywhere for people to hang out, but also that there is supervision. Like George said, nowadays if teens want to party, it's at someone's house and there's dangerous stuff going on. But back then, you know, you go to like the roller rink or the mall or the arcade, there are still adults there, but they're not like telling you what to do. They're not trying to drive you out of the space because it was meant for you, and it's just a safe place to like have fun and meet people and be with your friends after school and not have to like just go straight home.
On the part of the supervision,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want, what I'm about to say, I'm not saying is like that is the case, but back then I'm pretty sure like where those spaces like resided, there was probably like a neighborhood of people that were like really close.
Yeah.
You know, like everybody know everybody, that saying. So it's probably, that's why some people may, I don't know. I just wanted to add that in because it came to my mind. But yeah, make some more spaces for us because we're desperately bored and need something to do. George, anything from you?
I mean, now that you brought that up, like the everybody knows everybody thing, like, I think that that's something that's like really true. Like nowadays, most people in a neighborhood like probably don't know each other. Like I could tell you the names of maybe like 2 people on my block. Like Ny'Jari said, back in the day, it used to be like everyone trusted everybody because they knew each other. and everyone would sort of be friendly, but now like neighbors don't really care for each other that much, and I think that might have something to do with why teens are so like hated everywhere, because they're like, these adults don't personally know the teens or the kids, so it like they struggle to form a connection, so they're kind of like scared of them, if that makes sense.
It takes a village, and I think one thing that like broke apart that village is the fact that society is just so digitized now. Everybody's on their phones, everybody's watching TV, everybody's on their computers. Like, when you just said you only know like the name of 2 people on your block, I don't know anybody on my block. I don't know anybody in my apartment, because like people, they don't have the need to just go out and talk to the person who lives next to them anymore, because it's so much easier to call your friend or call your family or watch Netflix or just like do anything but step outside the house. So when we talk about the lack of third spaces for teens, there's also just a lack of anybody going anywhere. So when everything else disappears, the things for kids like just completely vanish.
The community is dying. That also needs to be fixed. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
So like I think we all agree that the issue of third spaces is connected to like the problem of there not being like a community anywhere.
I'm just gonna steal that. Like, everyone thinks they're too cool for like the world. Like literally, this isn't even technically a third space, but like my school's homecoming, nobody goes to homecoming. And it makes me so sad, because I know when I was in middle school, I was so excited for high school homecoming, because like in the movies and the shows, like it was basically mini prom for the whole school. And the same with other things, like maybe this isn't like, I know you probably don't go through that, because I'm pretty sure Lane Tech is like a very school spirit school, is it?
Yeah, I'd say we enjoy our homecoming.
My school is pretty small though. We only have like 400 kids.
Yeah.
But like homecomings, nobody goes to, nobody does spirit weeks, nobody likes the pep rallies, and it's all just like, what's the word? A cynicism.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it? Yeah, there's like a cynicism towards everything.
I know like promotional videos and stuff like that usually get people involved. Prizes, like you just gotta appeal to the mind, honestly.
You do.
And with today's society, I feel like youths are more engaged with like obviously having a good time, but reaping from like getting something out of it too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, or a lot of like younger folks, I consider myself young. I ain't even finna go that way. A lot of people like me and like younger, like we want to have fun, but we also have that consciousness in the back of our head telling us like we can't have too much fun because we also got to take care of other things.
Mm-hmm.
So that could also play a role. Like maybe they don't feel like they're too cool, but they feel like they have to be more responsible.
Yeah.
And going out and hanging out with friends probably won't benefit them as if going to work and doing that 6-hour shift or whatnot. So it's a lot of factors that mold this subject, but it initially can all start with just creating that space and making others feel welcomed. And from there, we could deal with all the extra, but start with the spaces and actually gravitate towards the youth. Don't make the space and then do something you know they ain't gonna want to show up for. That's like defeating the entire purpose. Also, we touched upon like not jobs being hard to find as well.
Yeah.
Also make sure that there's something for them to actually work. If some people wanted to work at those spaces too, like make that a possibility to do. Yeah.
Going back to what Cio was saying, I think one of my biggest pet peeves about like my generation is like people trying to act nonchalant.
Yes.
Like they just want to be nonchalant and like not talk to anyone and just stay home, and it just like, I don't know, it just annoys me because there's no reason to be nonchalant. Like, I think it's amazing when someone like expresses themselves and they talk with people. Like, I think just trying to act all emotionless just makes life boring. Like, there's no point. And I think that nonchalantness connects to like not really doing many activities, like just trying to act all mysterious.
Okay, I gotta stop you there. Wait, give me that. Hold on. Because some people act nonchalant because they're shy. They're shy and they
okay, I'm gonna keep going.
and they don't know exactly how to like express themselves, or they feel like in their head them expressing themselves ain't gonna connect well with the vibe of the room. So they will shut themselves off and kind of like separate themselves. But that's when the people who are also in the room should say, "Hey, how you feeling? What you think about this topic? Or what you like? Come join the conversation." Bringing people in is, some people can't just go jump in. You gotta step your foot in and put your foot in and put your leg in and you get your whole body in. But it's like we need more people out there that are going to invite those those introverts, those extroverts, inviting the introverts in to make them feel welcome, make them feel comfortable. Because once you do that, you go see a totally different person. I promise you. So, I agree with you. I'm not saying I don't agree, but I'm just saying that's a remedy we could do, or others can do in a space to make everyone feel involved and wanted. Because that's very important. Did you have something to say?
Yeah.
Let's give it to Cia. You get it back. Save it, because I want to hear what you say.
I agree with your point about how some people are just shy and they think how they feel won't connect with others. But there's a big difference between shy and nonchalant.
Mm-hmm.
Some people genuinely think they're bigger than the program.
Exactly.
Some people think they're too cool for this. Like, some people will literally, you'll go up to them and you'll be like, "Hey, like, do you want to get food after school?" Be like, "That's so lame. Like, I'm just gonna go home." What? Like,
y'all hanging out with, because who turns down food?
or even like, "Oh, this new movie came out. I really want to
Mhm.
see it." What? I'm just gonna wait till it drops on Netflix.
That's fair.
No,
It's
What?
cheaper.
no, that's not like
It's
why.
cheaper,
That's not
though.
why they're not watching it though.
Right. It's not
Okay.
because it's cheaper. It's because they genuinely think that they're cooler than going to the movies.
But how do you know that though?
Because
You
can
just know.
tell. You just
It's like
know.
a thing with our
It's the
generation.
vibes. It's the
If
vibes.
they were too broke, they would say, "Oh no, I don't have any money." Not what? I'll just wait till it drops on Prime or Netflix or whatever. Like,
But that is a valid case though, because I actually used that. Oh, I wasn't trying to share for real. Oh, I actually used that excuse one time, and it was for the Barbie movie. I'm like, why would I go see the Barbie movie when I don't really want to see the Barbie movie, and I know it's gonna come out on Netflix,
Wow.
HBO. or
But why
Hulu?
wouldn't you want to see the Barbie movie?
Because I was more interested in the Transformers and the Oppenheimer.
Oh, Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I was more interested in that. And then in my finance, this is way off topic, but in my finance class, we had this little subject where why would you invest your time and your money at a movie theater watching a movie that you're not enjoying? That's wasteful when you could get up and go find you something else better to do that's worthy of your time and value.
or you
So-
could just have fun with your friends.
Exactly. The point of the movie isn't like actually watching the movie. It's like the experience of going with your friends. And if you don't, if you don't want to watch the movie, you just say like, "Oh, I don't really want to watch that movie. Can we watch this instead, or can we do this activity instead?"
Yeah.
But instead, they think they're like too cool to like have fun in public.
Yes.
That's like the point that I'm trying to make when I say
Yeah.
nonchalant.
Me too. That's
I'll
the
back down.
biggest. Can I see?
Yeah.
I think that.
That's really the biggest thing. Like, people just don't want to be in public anymore. Like, those are the same people who would rather just post something on Instagram or like send you TikToks and Reels and YouTube Shorts. Like, it's just there is a lack of enthusiasm for going out and doing something. Okay, so we've established the community is dead. People are bigger than the program. And there's nowhere to go. I think we should leave it on a positive note, actually, and suggest how to fix it. We already gave some points on, like, welcoming people who are kind of more shy, or, like, what else did you say? You said something about, like, just creating
yeah,
the
just
space.
creating spaces.
in
We got too many
general.
abandoned places for there not to be spaces for us.
Right. So, yeah, I think that's really it. Just make real world connections. Don't coop yourself up in a room. Don't ignore your friends. Just kind of find something. That's really how we are in society. Yeah, it was easier back then, but complaining about how it was easier back then isn't really going to help us. We have to, what's the word, evolve. We have to evolve in our society and find new ways.
Couple of my friends, on their way to my house, they saw this bouncy house from a different party, and they announced it to the party in my basement. They're like, hey, there's a bouncy house down the street. All these kids just walked out of my basement, and we went to the bouncy house to go check it out. So a few kids got in there and started bouncing around, and the owners walked out, and they realized there's a whole bunch of kids just bouncing in their bouncy house that aren't at their party. So they went to these kids and they were about to yell at them. And so I got in between and I was like, hey, reasonable mistake the kids made. They were just trying to have a good time. And before it escalated, me and a couple of the kids decided that it was best to just sprint away from that situation back to the house. And so there's a really artistic photo of us running away from the house with a bouncy house in the background. We were eating tacos and just underneath this tent with the rain behind us, and we just stood out there for a couple hours, just munching on some tacos, a couple of marshmallows underneath this fire. We went back to the basement and we just stayed up the whole night playing Mario Soccer. We decided to sit down and watch some TV, but since we were up for almost 24 hours, we all almost fell asleep watching TV. So after that, we decided to call it a day, and we went our separate ways that evening.
My neighborhood has its ups and downs like any other neighborhood, but my neighborhood is in particular. I'm from Humboldt Park. See, in my neighborhood, the ups are that people take care of their property, they do everything they can to help out the young people, but the bad things are there's a lot of gang activity. There's a lot of drug sales. I also see young teens there that get involved with the younger children, and they go to like the Boys and Girls Club to help them out. And they also, help clean up the neighborhood from time to time. Where I used to live, before I used to live in Humboldt Park, I lived far, like on Noble Street. And over there, it was really quiet. Everybody knew everybody. It was kind of like a small town, in a big city. But when I moved to Humboldt Park, all that had to change because I was like, okay, all these people over here are pushing me around. Well, it's time to get tough, and it's time to earn my respect. But there's a lot of empty lots in the neighborhood, like every other house there's an empty lot, and that's kind of a sore eye to people, and that makes the neighborhood look bad because it's like, okay, there's two houses, nice green lawns and everything, and then there's an empty lot, muddy, sometimes cars are parked there. Things that could be done to improve a neighborhood are more police patrol, and for the school there could be more security to secure the kids and more teacher-student involvement, because what I noticed is there's a lot of kids that they're dropping out because the teachers aren't helping them out, and the teachers should start relating to them and show them there's more potential out there for them than just dropping out, having kids, and doing things in the streets instead of having a good job. Well, my free time I usually spend it either in Humboldt Park playing football with my friends, or I'll just go chill at a friend's house in different neighborhoods, or I'm here at work and see TVN. Well, my haircut, I go to Sports Cuts or Luquillos, but basically I go to Sports Cuts because they cut your hair there, they can do your eyebrows, and they also braid your hair there, and that's one of the best places I go to braid my hair. And it's just not a place to get your hair cut, it's also a place to like communicate with everybody and, you know, find out what's been happening in the neighborhood. My neighborhood, there's a lot of African Americans and Puerto Ricans, and like economically, there's a lot of middle class and a lot of welfare people that live there. Education-wise, there's a high dropout rate. Like the majority of them are dropouts, but like certain ones exceeded that level and are in college and they're like bankers, accountants for bread companies like Ganella, and you know, different things like that. Well, the flags, I know they're put up maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. I'm not sure when, but I know they're 50-foot flagpoles that are between Western and California, and they represent El Paso Boricua, and that is basically all of Division Street between Western California. There's a lot of Puerto Rican influence. Like when it comes to June, when the Puerto Rican Festival happens, everybody gets together. It's not just for Puerto Ricans. There's blacks, there's Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, there's even Asians that go to it. Everybody goes there just to have a good time, to have good food. There's a lot of Caucasians moving in, and you know, Puerto Ricans and African Americans don't really like that because everybody's used to everybody. And now there's like a majority of Caucasians moving into the condos that were once empty lots, and well, that's just kind of like, it's kind of weird because usually think, oh, Humboldt Park is bad, and now it's turning kind of Caucasian-ish. But really, it's not, because there's not that many Caucasians there, and it will always be Humboldt Park. It will always be a Puerto Rican, African American neighborhood. That will never change.